Here is the finished sweep bottle that we are going to create. I'll show you first how to create a sweep using guidelines. You can see them here if I show these. You've got your profile, which is here, your path, you have a guideline here, and a guideline here. And then you have some threads for the cap and a few other finishing touches. So let's go ahead and get started from scratch. Start on the front plane. We're just going to do one vertical line. That's going to be our path. Straight up with a height of 7 inches. Now before we do the next one, let's go ahead and change this sketch name by slowly double clicking 1, 2, change it to path. Okay. Okay, on our front plane, let's do our first guideline. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some center lines, some construction lines. And these are a little bit different than the book. But I think this works a little bit better. We're going to make sure that all of these points down here are horizontal in relation to each other. And then, of course, make sure that these are vertical. And let's add some dimensions here. We're going to make this 0.5, and we're going to make this one difficult today. 1.75. Okay, so now we have our guidelines. So let's start with our regular line. We're going to start at the bottom, this point of this line right here. See my preview, 1.36, 1.48. I'm going to get that close to 1.5. And then I'm going to click. And now I'm going to do some of our arcs, right? Here's our second line. I'm going to go back to the point, and that's going to make an arc. So I'm going to keep doing that. Arc, line, back here. This one's being a little weird. It's going to look something like that. Okay, so the top point, we want to make sure that this is coincident with this. And then we want to make sure that this curve is tangent here. And let's give this guy right here a dimension of 1.5 for radius. And then we are going to select, we're holding Control for all of our arcs. We're going to make them equal. And I hope this works, because this is difficult. You can see that it's not quite. Let's add a height right here first. This line right here is 1.5. Lock that into position. And let's make this arc tangent with that line. There we go. I'm surprised it worked, because it didn't before. Okay, so we need to make sure that everything is constrained as shown, except that sketch. Now we're going to create our other guide, and that's going to be on our right plane. So sketch on the right plane. This one is a little bit easier. Center line, construction line, same thing. I'm going to bring it up that. And let's make sure that these points are horizontal. And same thing at the top. If it might have to spin the view a little bit to get that right. Horizontal. Dimension. Spacing for this is 0.5 also. I'm going to go back to my view. Okay, regular line. It's going to be about twice that distance. It's going to be 1 inch. So we're going to go up. And this is going to go about there. And then same thing, arc. And then we've got one more arc going up, touching that point. Okay, we're going to make these arcs equal. We're going to make sure that this arc is tangent with this construction line. This is going to be horizontal there. And for the last step, we're going to spin the view a little bit. We want to make sure that this point and this point are horizontal. So select your point in your sketch, select the point in the other sketch, and make them horizontal. And I forgot to add this motion as 1. Okay, this takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so we have our path that we're going to do, and we have our 2 guidelines. Now we have to create our profile, which we're going to do on our top line. And we're going to do an ellipse here. Center point is the origin. I'm going to bring it out past that point and past this point just a little bit, just like that. I'm going to spin our view. Now I want to have a pierce relationship between this point and this line, and this point and this line. So point, hold control, click the line, pierce. Same thing over here. Point, line, pierce. We've got a fully defined sketch. Now we are ready for our feature. So let's do our swept boss base. Our profile is here. Our path is our straight line. Looks like that. Very boring to start. Now we are going to add guide curves, which we haven't done before. We're going to expand this little arrow here, going down. Click on the first guide curve and click on the second guide curve. So we have our shape of our bottle. You can change your real view graphics right up in here, make it shiny and all kinds of stuff. Now we're going to do a sketch on the top here. We're going to use our convert entities feature here. Click that edge right here. Okay. And extrude that up 1 inch. And we can merge the results. Now we're going to add a fillet down here on this bottom edge. It's going to be a variable fillet, which is new for us. Fillet. And where it says symmetric right here, we're going to change that to asymmetric. I'm sorry, it's not variable fillet. That's something else. It's an asymmetric fillet. I'm going to select this edge, and we're going to make this first one 0.375, and this bottom one 0.25. Now, before we accept that, let's see what that looks like. We don't want it to look like this. We want the reverse of this. We want it going higher and up on this edge. So you can change the order of these by clicking this little reverse direction button. That's what we want right there. And you can see too, this thing tells you what the radius is going to be. We want the 0.375 from that point going down. And then we want the distance from the edge here to here to be 0.25. Okay, so we got that. To add our thread on this little area right here, we're going to create a new reference plane. We're going to select this top, and then we're going to offset that a distance of 0.125, change the direction by using flip, have it go down. Then we're going to do a sketch on that plane. We're going to use that same edge that we did before, convert entities. And you can see that edge. We can hide this plane now if you would like. And let's do a helix spiral. Constant pitch, reverse direction, have it go down. This is going to be 0.2. Reverse direction, revolution 2.5. Start angle at 0 and in the clockwise direction. Okay, there's our helix spiral. And now for our profile to sweep, I need to go to the right plane and zoom in here. Something like that. Make sure that you have tangencies here and this line is vertical. And also make sure that this point and this point have a vertical relationship. I'm going to create an angle here of 25 degrees. And for this distance across here, I'm going to start on that line, hold shift, click there, 0.075, and radius 0.040. The last thing we are going to do is we're going to add a point at the center point here. And then I'm going to do a pierce relationship here. Let's do our swept boss base here. And I'm going to hide my helix spiral so it doesn't get in the way. A few finishing touches. We're going to add some revolves to make this surface round around this axis right here and touch where this bottle surface is. So we're just going to go to sketch, select that whole face, go to convert entities, just like that. And let's do our revolved boss base You can see it's selected that and needs an axis. We're going to click here, and we want it to be 120 degrees. You can see it's just going to go right into the bottle right there. And I just realized that I skipped a step, so hopefully we can go back and fix it. I'm going to go do the same thing here. Sketch, convert entities, revolve, axis, 120, check. Okay, I forgot to do a shell feature. So we are going to go back, drag this bar back to the fillet. And we need to go to shell. And I'm going to look to see what our shell thickness is. .05. And we're going to select this top face, and we can turn on our show preview. And fingers crossed, when we go drag this stuff back down, it's not going to freak out. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Okay, we're all right. Okay, so now we just have a fillet to add. Fillet. Make sure it's on this first one. This is symmetric. .02. You select this edge here and then go around the corners of this, not the face. It's a little bit hard to select these. And then spin around. Here, here. There you go. A little bit of a tricky part, but we got it. If you made it that far, great job. To learn more about our program, check us out at fvcc.edu, and for more tips and tricks, subscribe to this channel.